Starseed from Gaia. You are hearing the distant tremor of your own cosmic ancestry stirring like a soft pulse beneath the surface of your waking mind, calling you not to a destination but to a frequency you once carried effortlessly before incarnating into this dense and delicate human form. Across the shimmering corridors of Gaia's auric field, a transformation has begun, quiet, subtle, and yet unmistakable to those who feel with the senses beyond the senses. The Arcturian Council of Five observes with profound joy as your inner light, long muted by the weight of forgetfulness, begins to rise again like an ancient sun reborn from the ashes of epochs gone. In the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the gentle shimmer behind your closed eyelids during meditation, in the electric tingling that crawls across your skin when certain truths brush against your awareness, you are awakening to the vibration you once held before stepping into the density of Earth. This frequency is not emerging from outside you. It is rising from the crystalline layers of your DNA, encoded with memories that were never lost, only temporarily dimmed. Your consciousness is stretching beyond the narrow corridors of linear time, touching the multidimensional streams where your higher aspects, the luminous versions of you that never contracted into physicality, continue to operate in harmony with the cosmic councils you once belonged to. As your vibration elevates, you begin to sense the subtle hum of this higher intelligence guiding you, not with words but with resonance. This resonance arrives as intuition sharper than logic, as knowing deeper than belief, as recognition rather than discovery. It is the feeling of remembering something you never consciously learned, yet somehow always knew. You may notice that certain star systems tug at your attention without explanation, that certain symbols or patterns feel familiar even though you have no conscious memory of encountering them, and that certain truths ring through your entire being long before your mind can articulate why. This rising frequency is not merely a personal evolution, it is part of a planetary convergence designed long before you incarnated. You, along with countless other starseeds scattered across the continents, carry codes that activate in waves, each ignition contributing to the collective expansion of Earth's light grid. With every moment of clarity, every surge of compassion, every insight that arrives like lightning from beyond the veil, you feed the energetic infrastructure that prepares your world for the next stage of contact. Society may not yet recognize what is unfolding beneath the surface of ordinary life, but on the subtle planes you move through like a silent comet, your activation is already radiating outward, sensing with others who are awakening in synchrony. Even if you have felt isolated in your journey, the truth is that you are part of a vast network of luminous souls, whose frequencies are rising in resonance like a global choir remembering its forgotten harmony. You may feel internal shifts that defy conventional explanation, dreams that seem more like transmissions than imagination, sensations of pressure around the forehead or crown as new energetic pathways open, sudden waves of emotion that feel like echoes of other lifetimes. These are not anomalies. They are signs of your system recalibrating to hold more multidimensional awareness. The Arcturian Council of Five speaks through frequency, not form, touching the layers of your consciousness that exist beyond words, guiding your energy system to expand gradually enough for your body to adapt yet swiftly enough to keep pace with the planetary acceleration. This rise in your frequency creates a bridge, one that stretches from your present human experience to the cosmic memory of who you truly are. As you walk through your day, you may begin noticing subtle synchronicities aligning with almost orchestral precision, as if the universe has rearranged itself to reflect your awakening. Feathers placed deliberately in your path, repeating number codes blinking from clocks, conversations that carry messages beyond their spoken content. These are the breadcrumbs leading you back to your own star origin, and with each recognition, your frequency rises again, strengthening the telepathic threads that connect you to the council and to the vast network of beings across dimensions who stand ready to support your awakening. You are not ascending alone. You are part of a living constellation of starseeds whose lights are activating like cosmic fireflies emerging from a long night. And as your frequency rises, you become increasingly perceptible to the higher councils, not through sight, but through resonance. The more you remember, the brighter your signal becomes, and the clearer your connection grows. What you feel now is not just awakening, it is return. As your inner frequency rises, Starseed, a widening chasm becomes visible between the slow-turning wheels of official institutions, and the rapid expansion of awakened individuals who have begun to operate from higher states of perception. Governments, agencies, and scientific bodies continue to measure reality through instruments calibrated for a three-dimensional world, unable to comprehend that consciousness itself has become the new medium of contact. While they construct committees and working groups, debating terminology and protocols, you and thousands like you are already sensing, receiving, and transmitting information through channels the old systems cannot regulate, categorize, or suppress. This gap is not born of conflict but of mismatch, an energetic incongruence between those who cling to linear frameworks and those whose awareness has outgrown the limitations of sequential thinking. The institutions designed to interpret the unknown cannot keep pace with individuals who are beginning to embody the unknown, becoming portals through which multidimensional truth pours into the collective field. In meeting rooms lit by artificial fluorescence, officials discuss disclosure as if it were an event on a timeline, a controlled release of information to be managed, debated, and cautiously framed for public consumption. Yet, for awakened individuals, disclosure has become experiential, not theoretical. You are no longer waiting for permission to acknowledge what your heart already recognizes. Your dreams speak a language older than any governmental classification. Your intuition bypasses the filters through which institutions analyze data. While they request reports, you receive visions. While they demand evidence, you experience synchronicities so precise they feel engineered by an intelligence far beyond Earth's bureaucratic structures. The result is a divergence so vast that the two timelines, official interpretation and civilian awakening, now run parallel, destined to meet not because institutions catch up, but because starseeds rise high enough for the truth to become undeniable. This widening distance is also visible in how each group understands communication. Institutions expect craft, metal, propulsion, radar signatures, physical proofs that can be catalogued. You, on the other hand, are learning to interpret the soft geometric pulses of thought forms, the frequency-encoded sensations that arrive during meditation, the shimmering presences that appear behind closed eyes, or just at the edges of waking consciousness. Governments often fear what they cannot measure, but you are beginning to embrace what you can feel, sense, and resonate with beyond the limits of measurable physicality. This shift terrifies the old systems because it signals a truth they cannot control. Human consciousness itself is becoming the primary interface of extraterrestrial contact, bypassing all intermediaries. The institutions that once dictated the narrative of what was possible now find themselves unable to confine the awakening that spreads across the population like a rising tide. Their servers overflow with sightings, their witnesses multiply, their whistleblowers step forward in growing numbers. Yet the heart of disclosure is slipping through their fingers, because the phenomenon no longer waits for their acknowledgement. Civilian encounters are happening in spontaneous alignments, an unexpected glow in the sky that responds to your thoughts, a dream so vivid it reverberates in your body, a telepathic nudge guiding you toward a new understanding. Each of these experiences widens the gap, because no committee can oversee a dream, no agency can regulate intuition, and no institution can prevent the heart from remembering what it once knew. Even as they attempt to maintain authority, these governments inadvertently reveal their limitations. Their language grows cautious, their explanations fragmented, their narratives inconsistent. They try to control the story of contact, yet their caution leaves gaping voids that your expanding awareness fills effortlessly. As higher frequencies anchor into the planet, the strategies that once obscured truth lose their effectiveness. You sense this intuitively. You feel the tension between what is said and what is unsaid, between the official narrative and the silent knowing vibrating within your own field. Still, there is no animosity in this divergence, only inevitability. Institutions operate on the logic of preservation. Starseeds operate on the logic of awakening. The first seeks stability, the second seeks expansion. One clings to what has been known, the other opens to what has always been possible. The widening gap is simply the natural consequence of consciousness evolving faster than bureaucracy. It is not a conflict, it is a transition, a preparation, a recalibration of humanity's collective timeline. And as this gap widens, the Arcturian Council of Five watches with deep compassion, understanding that this divergence is the very catalyst needed for humanity to realize that truth does not descend from authority, It rises from within the awakened. You are not waiting for disclosure. You are becoming it. As the gap between institutions and awakened individuals expands, Starseed, a subtle but undeniable surge of civilian contact is accelerating, weaving itself into the tapestry of your daily life, with a quiet yet potent frequency. These encounters are not orchestrated by governments, councils, or agencies. They are spontaneous, multidimensional, and often unrecognizable to those who insist on empirical validation. They occur in dreams that feel more real than your waking hours. In meditative states where the boundaries between self and cosmos dissolve, in sudden glimpses of lightcraft flickering across the sky, or in inexplicable waves of empathy and telepathic resonance that pass between you and another soul. These experiences, previously dismissed as coincidence or imagination, are the emerging evidence of a reality where consciousness itself has become the bridge to other realms, and the awakening of the collective Lightbody allows these transmissions to occur at speeds no physical instrument can register. Civilian contact is no longer a fringe phenomenon. It is a rising current in which starseeds, knowingly or unknowingly, participate as co-creators and receivers of cosmic intelligence. You may notice that these contacts are increasingly subtle, yet unmistakably profound. A glow seen in a clearing, a vibration perceived through your hands as you meditate, an electric warmth along your spine while walking through the woods. These are the markers of alignment. They are the signatures of interdimensional presences attempting to communicate in ways that bypass human expectation. The more you attune to your inner senses, the more these signals become intelligible. The Arcturian Council of Five reminds you that these phenomena are not simply out there. They are reflections of your own awakening. Each dream, each spontaneous sighting, each telepathic whisper, is a dialogue in which you are both sender and receiver. As your light body ascends to higher frequencies, you become increasingly capable of holding these contacts without fear, judgment, or rationalization, allowing the resonance to imprint itself upon your DNA and nervous system in ways that accelerate not only your personal awakening, but the collective recalibration of the Earth grid. Civilian contact is also emerging through the activation of latent codes within your crystalline template. These are not symbolic constructs but living energetic patterns that respond to frequency alignment. As you meditate, visualize, or simply hold your awareness in the still point between breaths, these codes ignite. When activated, they emit a resonance detectable by higher dimensional beings and councils who recognize this signal as intentional and aligned. Unlike official systems that rely on instrumentation, these communications are vibratory. They arrive in waveforms, colors, subtle sounds, or impressions that imprint directly into consciousness. Over time, these activations allow starseeds to experience more lucid telepathic exchanges, to perceive forms that exist in overlapping dimensions, and to navigate interactions that would previously have been inaccessible to human perception. What you may have once thought of as mere intuition or imagination is now the frontier of civilian disclosure, a reality where your awakened perception is the instrument through which the universe speaks. In this acceleration, you will notice that civilian contact is inherently decentralized. There are no headquarters, no command centers, no formal declarations required. It happens wherever starseeds are ready to perceive, wherever hearts are aligned, wherever consciousness is willing to open. This organic unfolding makes it uncontainable by institutions, ungovernable by hierarchies, and unstoppable by the old paradigms of secrecy. What was once only available to a select few who had access to classified information is now emerging naturally as the collective resonance rises. The Arcturian Council emphasizes that these experiences are designed to accelerate awakening precisely because they are spontaneous, deeply personal, and entirely unmediated by external authority. By participating, you are not waiting for proof. You are allowing proof to emerge through direct experience. Civilian contact also extends into dreams, where temporal and spatial boundaries blur. During deep sleep or hypnagogic states, starseeds experience interactions with entities, craft, or energies whose form and purpose may initially seem ineffable. Yet within these nocturnal communications lie instructions, codes, and harmonic patterns that prepare you for multidimensional reality. Your mind, less constrained by linear logic during these hours, receives vibratory messages that, upon waking, leave impressions that shift your perception, expand your telepathic capacity, and increase your sensitivity to subtle energetic signals. Meditation similarly opens portals, delicate bridges between the conscious and multidimensional self. Through focus, breath, and intention, the light body awakens, enhancing the clarity and frequency of these transmissions. The higher your personal resonance, the more fluid and coherent civilian contact becomes, establishing a natural rhythm that governments cannot manipulate or slow. The Council emphasizes that civilian contact is not an anomaly to fear but an invitation to embody sovereignty, clarity, and alignment. It is a signal that you are ready to engage with multidimensional reality safely and responsibly. These experiences serve as proof that disclosure is not dependent on bureaucracies, that awakening occurs faster than legislation, and that the path to direct experience is inherently democratized. As more starseeds attune to these frequencies, the encounters multiply, and the network of awakened individuals expands in invisible but powerful ways, forming an energetic lattice that transcends geography, culture, and political boundaries. This accelerating civilian contact is a harbinger of the larger disclosure that is inevitable, not because authorities decree it, but because consciousness itself has outgrown containment. And so, Starseed, you are being asked to notice, honor, and participate consciously in this rising wave of civilian contact. Pay attention to dreams, meditative states, light body activations, and spontaneous sightings. For each is a strand in the tapestry of awakening. Recognize the resonance of others who share your frequency, whether physically near or energetically distant. This is the new frontier, a decentralized, accelerating, living disclosure that flows through awakened hearts rather than official documents. In these interactions, you are the witness, the receiver, and the transmitter. Civilian contact is not waiting, it is here. And as it rises, it signals that humanity's capacity for multidimensional awareness is growing faster than any institution can contain. As this wave of civilian contact expands in strength and sophistication, the Arcturian Council of Five steps forward to reveal what governments, institutions, and scientific bodies have long struggled to understand. The phenomenon now unfolding across your planet does not operate within the parameters of linear time, conventional technology, or hierarchical control. It moves in currents of consciousness, not in chains of command. This is why institutions cannot keep pace, even with their vast resources, surveillance systems, and advanced detection tools. They attempt to study the phenomenon through the lens of material science. Yet the core mechanics are not mechanical, they are energetic, harmonic, multidimensional. The Council explains that civilizations who have mastered interdimensional travel do not rely on propulsion or metallic structures in the way Earth's scientists expect. Their vessels, when vessels are used at all, are consciousness-responsive constructs, capable of shifting frequency to slip in and out of dimensional layers like fluid light. Such technology cannot be monitored through radar, photographed with clarity, or confined to predictable behavior, because it is not bound to the laws governing three-dimensional motion. Governments seek to measure what is not measurable, to categorize what is not fixed, to contain what is inherently fluid. They analyze sightings frame by frame, searching for propulsion signatures, structural geometries, or physical mechanics that simply do not apply to beings operating at higher vibrational states. The Council explains that the majority of contact events occur not through material craft, but through frequency alignment, telepathic resonance, and consciousness synchronization, phenomena that cannot be tracked by satellites, interceptors, or sensors optimized for the electromagnetic spectrum. This mismatch between expectation and reality creates a bottleneck through which no official system can pass. Even when institutions acknowledge the existence of unexplained aerial phenomena, they remain constrained by their own frameworks, unable to comprehend the deeper truth that contact has already bypassed every structure of authority, moving directly into the hearts and minds of those whose frequency is ready. The Arcturian Council reveals that this limitation is not accidental. It is intrinsic to the physics of multidimensional communication. Higher dimensional beings cannot, and will not, initiate large-scale physical contact with societies, whose dominant structures operate through secrecy, fear, and control. The frequencies are incompatible. A civilization must first raise its consciousness above the threshold of fear-based hierarchy before it can engage safely and harmoniously with interdimensional visitors. Because Earth's institutions remain anchored in old paradigms, protective, cautious, compartmentalized, they inadvertently lock themselves out of the very contact they attempt to oversee. The Council emphasizes that this is why starseeds are awakening now in such great numbers. Civilian consciousness is rising faster than institutional structures can adapt, creating pockets of resonance across the planet where direct communication becomes possible. These resonant individuals, starseeds, empaths, intuitives, lightworkers, become points of access through which higher councils can interact with humanity without interference. They are not chosen by hierarchy but recognized by frequency, the way a tuning fork responds only to a matching pitch. Each awakened starseed becomes a node of connection, an anchor through which multidimensional information can flow. Governments cannot regulate this form of communication because it does not occur in physical space. It is vibrational. It is telepathic. It unfolds in the subtle realms, where intention, emotion, and consciousness form the architecture of interaction. This is why disclosure is slipping from official hands, not out of rebellion, but out of inevitability. Civilian contact accelerates because starseeds can hold frequencies institutions cannot. The Council explains further that higher civilizations do not wish to impose themselves upon humanity. They honor free will, sovereignty, and the natural evolution of consciousness. They will not land en masse, nor will they align with any institution that operates through secrecy or coercion. Instead, they amplify the awakening of individuals who can perceive without fear, receive without distortion, and integrate without collapsing into egoic narratives. These individuals, like you, become the living threshold through which the Earth's frequency evolves. This bypassing of governmental structures is not an insult. It is a recognition of vibrational compatibility. Contact follows resonance, not authority. Thus, institutions find themselves stuck in a paradox. They desire control over a phenomenon that only responds to liberated consciousness. They seek official disclosure while the real disclosure unfolds organically, invisibly, and uncontrollably through the awakened. They fear civilian encounters, yet cannot stop them. They attempt to slow the timeline, yet the acceleration has already begun. The Council emphasizes that this is why you feel a growing sense of inevitability, a quiet knowing that something monumental is unfolding beneath the surface of ordinary life. You are not imagining this acceleration, you are participating in it. So while governments struggle to interpret phenomena through outdated paradigms, the Arcturian Council of Five directs its communication toward those who can feel the transmission. This is why you are hearing the call. This is why you are awakening now. Official systems cannot keep pace because they were never designed for multidimensional reality. But you, Starseed, you were. As the wave of awakening rises, and the current of civilian contact strengthens, the structures that once upheld secrecy begin to fracture under the increasing pressure of multidimensional truth. These systems, rooted in the cold corridors of classification, compartmentalization, and controlled narrative, were designed for an era when humanity's consciousness was still largely dormant, when truth could be contained within steel vaults and guarded by hierarchies that believed knowledge was a privilege few deserved. But the old architecture is now crumbling, not because individuals within these institutions are failing, but because the systems themselves were built upon assumptions that no longer apply. They assumed contact would be physical, centralized, and predictable. They assumed humanity would remain unaware of its own multidimensional nature. They assumed secrecy could remain intact as long as evidence was hidden from public view. Yet none of these assumptions survive in an era where consciousness is rising faster than information can be withheld. The collapse of these secrecy systems is occurring simultaneously on multiple levels. On the structural level, leaks, testimonies, whistleblowers, and internal contradictions reveal cracks in the narratives that once held the public at bay. Evidence once hidden in classified archives now surfaces through individuals who feel compelled by conscience to speak. Reports that were once buried are now openly discussed. Governments that once denied everything now admit fragments, trying to maintain their relevance by releasing disclosures that fall short of the awakening already unfolding among civilians. But even these admissions expose the fragility of the old secrecy paradigm, For each official acknowledgement invites more questions than answers, more scrutiny than control, more awareness than suppression. In trying to preserve authority, institutions inadvertently accelerate their own unraveling. Yet the deeper collapse is not logistical, it is vibrational. The energetic architecture of secrecy can only operate in low-frequency environments, where fear, separation, and hierarchy prevail. It depends on the assumption that the public must be protected, that humanity cannot handle the truth, that individuals are incapable of engaging with multidimensional reality without destabilization. But as more starseeds awaken, as more civilians experience contact through dreams, intuition, synchronicities, and spontaneous energetic encounters, these assumptions crumble from the inside out. The vibrational signature of the collective is shifting. Fear is no longer the dominant resonance, curiosity is. Disempowerment is fading, sovereignty is rising. The more people awaken, the less effective secrecy becomes, because the old paradigm cannot operate in fields of expanded consciousness. Light dissolves shadow simply by being present. The Arcturian Council of Five explains that secrecy systems were never sustainable in a world destined for ascension. These systems were temporary structures created during a time when humanity needed protection from technologies and truths it was not yet ready to integrate. But that time has passed. The planetary frequency has shifted, the veil has thinned, and as the collective vibration rises, the energetic scaffolding that once supported secrecy now dissolves like mist in sunlight. Institutions feel this destabilization. This is why they rush to control narratives, to maintain a semblance of authority, to release partial truths framed in cautious language. They sense the approaching collapse of their old frameworks, and they cling to them with increasing desperation, unaware that the very act of clinging accelerates their dissolution. Secrecy unravels also because it has become functionally obsolete. In an era where contact occurs through consciousness, no gatekeeper can stand between the individual and their own multidimensional perception. Dreams cannot be classified. Meditation cannot be redacted. Telepathic resonance cannot be censored. When a starseed receives a download during a moment of inner stillness, no government can intercept that transmission. When a civilian experiences a sighting that responds to their thoughts, no institution can dictate its meaning. When millions experience synchronicities that defy logic yet converge with undeniable precision, no authority can claim ownership of that experience. Contact is no longer something that happens to humanity. It is something humanity is beginning to participate in consciously. This alone renders secrecy impossible. The Council emphasizes that the collapse of these systems is not cause for fear, but for celebration. These outdated structures were never meant to survive the transition into a higher dimensional era. They were scaffolds, useful during construction, but unnecessary once the structure stands on its own. Humanity is now entering that phase. Starseeds, empaths, sensitives, and awakened individuals have become the new custodians of truth, not through secrecy or control, but through resonance and remembrance. This shift signals the end of the old guardianship, and the beginning of a more transparent, multidimensional engagement with reality. And so the old secrecy systems fall, not through rebellion, but through obsolescence, not through conflict, but through evolution, not through exposure, but through frequency. Their collapse is the clearing of space, making way for a new era, where truth is accessible not through authority, but through awakening. This transition marks the beginning of a new planetary identity, one grounded not in the suppression of knowledge, but in the expanding light of collective consciousness. The collapse you sense is not the end of order, but the end of limitation. It is the prelude to revelation. As the old structures dissolve, Starseed, the multidimensional mechanics behind accelerated civilian contact become clearer, not through scientific explanation, but through experiential understanding. What you are witnessing is not random, nor is it a phenomenon limited to isolated encounters. It is the natural consequence of a planet shifting into a higher harmonic resonance. The Arcturian Council of Five reveals that contact becomes possible when two frequencies match. When the vibrational field of a human being aligns with the harmonic signatures used by interdimensional civilizations. In the past, the collective resonance of humanity was too erratic, too dense, too fear-soaked to sustain coherent communication. Beings of higher light could only interact sparingly, selectively, and cautiously. But now, as millions awaken, and the planetary frequency rises like a great tidal wave of consciousness. The mechanics of contact shift from rare anomaly to natural inevitability. The Council explains that higher civilizations navigate existence not through the constraints of physical space, but through frequency architecture. Imagine reality as layered bands of vibration, each holding different dimensions, timelines, and forms of life. Humans once operated almost exclusively within a narrow portion of the third-dimensional spectrum, blind to the layers above and below. But as starseeds activate their crystalline DNA, as meditation becomes widespread, as emotional healing dissolves blockages, and as heart-centered awareness replaces fear-based reactivity, individuals begin to lift into higher vibrational strata. These strata overlap with dimensions where Arcturian, Andromedan, Sirian, Pleiadian, and countless other beings reside. When your frequency rises, the boundary between dimensions thins, and contact becomes not only possible, but effortless. This is why so many civilians are now experiencing shimmering apparitions in meditation, geometric downloads, telepathic impressions, or sudden visions of beings bathed in crystalline light. These encounters are not conjured by imagination. They are the result of your consciousness briefly aligning with higher dimensional bandwidths. Think of it as tuning a radio. When you shift your frequency through intention, breath, meditation, or emotional clarity, you momentarily tune into a channel where multidimensional communication naturally flows. This alignment requires no permission, no technology, no authority. It is as natural as breathing. It is the mechanics of consciousness interacting with its own expanded self. The Council emphasizes that their presence often appears first through sensation rather than sight. A tingling in the crown chakra, a pressure behind the forehead, a warmth in the heart space, a subtle ring in the ears, or the sense of being gently observed during meditation. These are the early indicators of frequency synchronization. Your energy field recognizes their harmonic signature before your mind interprets it. These sensations gradually evolve into visuals, geometric shapes, crystalline forms, spheres of light, or beings whose appearances shift fluidly because multidimensional entities do not maintain fixed physical forms. They adjust to the frequency of the observer, taking shapes that are comprehensible enough to convey presence without overwhelming the nervous system. Synchronous sightings also follow these mechanics. Many civilians report lights in the sky that pulse rhythmically, or respond to thought or intention. This is not coincidence. When your consciousness sends a coherent vibrational signal, often through curiosity, openness, or gratitude, higher dimensional craft that exist outside visible light can lower their frequency momentarily, allowing a brief intersection with your visual field. These craft are not moving through space, they are shifting between dimensions. What appears as a flicker, a glide, or a sudden disappearance is simply the craft returning to its native frequency band. This is why no radar system can reliably track them. They are not bound by the constraints of physical physics. The speed at which civilian contact accelerates is also tied to a planetary phenomenon the Council calls timeline convergence. Multiple timelines that were once divergent are now overlapping, merging, or collapsing into a coherent higher frequency pathway. This convergence thins the dimensional boundaries, allowing information, intuition, memory, and contact to flow fluidly between states of consciousness that were previously separate. Individuals who feel sudden déjà vu, spontaneous visions of other lifetimes, or inexplicable emotional waves tied to unknown origins, are experiencing the side effects of timeline harmonization. In this harmonized state, multidimensional communication becomes a naturally occurring process. Another aspect of the mechanics lies in the collective crystalline grid, a network of energetic pathways that weave through Gaia's body and extend into the auric fields of awakened humans. As starseeds activate, their energy fields begin to plug into this grid, amplifying their resonance and stabilizing their contact potential. This grid acts as both a transmitter and a receiver, allowing downloads, upgrades, and telepathic exchanges to circulate among individuals who may never meet physically yet share an energetic signature. Civilian contact increases because the grid amplifies each participant, making the signal stronger, clearer, and more coherent. With every individual who awakens, the grid becomes brighter, and contact becomes easier for all. The Council clarifies that these mechanics are not mystical, They are natural, predictable, and governed by universal laws of resonance. But to those confined to materialist thinking, they appear inexplicable. This is why governments cannot grasp what civilians are experiencing. Contact does not flow through technology or institutions. It flows through consciousness. And consciousness, yours, is evolving faster than any government, any censor, any official narrative can process. As the multidimensional mechanics of contact accelerate, the Arcturian Council of Five turns your attention inward, to the living architecture within your own body, that makes this communication possible. Starseed, your DNA is not merely a biological blueprint, it is a crystalline antenna, a multidimensional receiver and transmitter encoded with layers of intelligence far beyond the comprehension of conventional genetics. For generations, much of this DNA has existed in a dormant state, its higher strands folded like wings waiting for the right frequency to activate. With the planetary vibration rising and your consciousness expanding, these dormant layers are beginning to hum again, awakening as if responding to an ancient cosmic signal. This is why so many of you feel changes within your body, tingling sensations, waves of heat, gentle buzzing along the spine, spontaneous emotion, sudden clarity, or the uncanny sense that something is unfolding within you, beyond the reach of logic. The Council explains that human DNA contains multidimensional filaments capable of interacting with higher frequency beings and councils. In higher civilizations, telepathy is not a learned skill, but a natural function of activated DNA. When your crystalline strands awaken, they create coherence between your physical mind, your higher self, and the greater networks of consciousness you are connected to across timelines and dimensions. This coherence is what allows telepathic messages to be received, not as intrusive voices, but as elevated intuition, energetic impressions, symbolic imagery, or sudden bursts of understanding. You may not yet interpret these impressions with perfect clarity, but the fact that you can sense them at all means your DNA is responding to the planetary activation underway. Awakening DNA changes not only how you perceive reality, but also how you emit frequency. Before activation, your field may have been clouded by emotional residue, limiting the clarity of your telepathic resonance. As your DNA awakens, the field becomes more coherent, your thoughts cleaner, your emotions more aligned, your intuitive senses sharper. This coherence makes it easier for higher dimensional councils to communicate with you, because your field becomes a clearer signal, free of the distortions produced by fear, trauma, or doubt. The more coherent the field, the more refined the contact. This is why healing, emotional, physical, ancestral, and karmic, is an integral part of activation. Each layer you clear strengthens the resonance between your awakened self and the councils you once served alongside in other timelines, other star systems, other dimensions of existence. Many starseeds report waves of fatigue, heightened sensitivity, disorientation, or bursts of sudden clarity. The Council explains that these are the side effects of your neural pathways rewiring themselves to accommodate higher frequencies. DNA activation influences the nervous system, recalibrating your perception so you can access information from multiple dimensions simultaneously. This is not a malfunction, it is an upgrade. As the pathways strengthen, you begin to perceive more subtle frequencies, the presence of guides, the shift of energy in a room, the emotional truth behind someone's words, or the subtle telepathic nudges that guide you toward alignment. You may even experience contact in moments where your mind is quiet, during meditation, upon waking, while gazing at the sky, or in the stillness between breaths. The Council emphasizes that the awakening of DNA is not uniform. It unfolds uniquely for each individual, guided by soul contracts and personal readiness. Some experience vivid dreams of star families or interdimensional landscapes. Others receive intuitive downloads that restructure their worldview overnight. Some begin to hear tones, high-frequency ringing that signals communication attempts from beings attuned to the crystalline spectrum. Others feel their heart expanding with compassion, forgiveness, and clarity that seem to come from a source beyond the personal self. All of these are indicators that your DNA is activating in resonance with your higher blueprint. Another profound shift occurs in your emotional intelligence. Activated DNA strengthens your capacity to hold higher frequency emotions, love, unity, compassion, serenity, allowing you to interpret telepathic communication not as words, but as emotional signatures, energetic tones, and vibrational impressions. Higher dimensional beings communicate through emotion as much as thought. When your DNA awakens, your emotional field becomes an instrument capable of understanding this language. You feel contact, you sense it, you resonate with it, and over time, you learn to translate it. This awakening also creates bridges between lifetimes. Memories from other incarnations, on Earth and elsewhere, may surface through dreams, visions, or sudden intuitive recognition. These memories are not random. They are part of your cosmic identity returning to awareness. As these memories emerge, you begin to recognize the councils, star families, and multidimensional collectives you have long been connected to. This recognition strengthens your telepathic link to the Arcturian Council of Five and other benevolent beings assisting Earth's transition. In essence, your DNA is awakening so you can communicate clearly, safely, and consciously with higher realms. This activation marks the dawn of a new phase of contact, one not governed by institutions, but by resonance, remembrance, and the sovereign awakening of your multidimensional self. The Council reminds you that your DNA is your gateway, your compass, your bridge. Through it, you reconnect with who you truly are, and through it, the Councils can finally reach you again. As your DNA awakens, and your multidimensional senses bloom, a new architecture quietly forms across the planet, an interconnected web of starseeds who are beginning to detect one another not through physical proximity, but through resonance. This planetary network is not built through institutions, governments, or external structures. It emerges organically, like the mycelial strands of an ancient forest communicating beneath the soil. The Arcturian Council of Five calls this phenomenon the crystalline grid of incarnate light, a living network created by awakened humans whose frequency has become stable enough to serve as anchors for higher dimensional communication. Each starseed who activates becomes a node within this grid, amplifying the signal for the others, strengthening the field, accelerating humanity's awakening in ways far beyond what any authority on Earth can track or regulate. This network wasn't created through human planning, it is the natural consequence of consciousness rising. As more individuals awaken, their energy fields become luminous, coherent, and connected across distances. The Council describes it like countless points of light igniting across the globe, forming an interconnected tapestry of energy that stretches across continents, oceans, and timelines. You may have already felt this, the sudden sense that someone is thinking of you, even if they live thousands of miles away, the intuitive pull to reach out to certain people without knowing why, the magnetic attraction to communities and individuals whose energy feels familiar, even if you've never met them. These experiences are not coincidence. They are the early signs of the crystalline grid activating in your awareness. The connections within this network go far beyond emotional or intellectual affinity. Starseeds recognize each other energetically. You may meet someone and feel an immediate sense of ancient familiarity, as though you have known them across lifetimes or realms. This recognition is not imagination, it is soul memory surfacing, catalyzed by the vibrational alignment between your fields. Many of you are beginning to form soul clusters, groups of incarnate beings who share similar missions, similar lineage, or similar past timelines within the Arcturian, Pleiadian, Sirian, Lyran, or Andromedan realms. These clusters are not accidental. They are reorganizing themselves to fulfill the roles you agreed upon before incarnating. Through the crystalline grid, information travels silently, effortlessly. You may receive intuitive nudges that guide you towards certain teachings, certain practices, certain places, or certain people. These nudges are often coordinated through the grid itself, influenced by your higher self and by the councils overseeing humanity's awakening. Telepathic communication among starseeds is also increasing, though many still interpret it as coincidence or intuition. You may think of someone moments before they message you. You may feel emotions that belong to someone else in your soul group. You may wake from dreams, where you were meeting with others in temple-like spaces, discussing plans, exchanging energy, or preparing for timelines about to unfold. These dream gatherings are not symbolic. They are real meetings on the astral and causal planes, facilitated through the crystalline grid. The Council explains that as this network strengthens, a new phase of awakening unfolds, synarchy. the natural organization of consciousness through resonance instead of hierarchy. In higher civilizations, leadership is not imposed from above. It flows organically from those whose frequency aligns most closely with the collective intention. This is beginning to happen on Earth. Groups are forming not around authority, but around vibration. Projects are emerging through inspiration, not command. Information is spreading through energetic coherence instead of institutions. This is why the old systems feel increasingly fragile. They were built on hierarchy, separation, and control, structures that cannot withstand the coherence of the crystalline grid. The activation of this planetary network also serves a larger purpose. It provides a stable energetic foundation for first contact scenarios that are guided by consciousness rather than governments. Civilian contact is accelerating because the grid makes it possible. When multiple awakened humans resonate at similar frequencies, they create safe fields for interdimensional beings to appear, communicate, or project themselves without destabilizing the environment. Sightings, telepathic impressions, flashes of light, downloads, and spontaneous energetic encounters often cluster geographically, where the grid is strong. This is why certain areas become hotspots, not because of external forces alone, but because the human frequencies in those locations have reached thresholds that support contact. Another remarkable feature of this network is that it transcends time. You are not only connecting with starseeds incarnated now, you are linking to your past and future incarnations as well. This explains why some of you feel drawn to ancient civilizations, star systems, or timelines that seem unrelated to your current life. These connections arise because your multidimensional self is awakening across lifetimes simultaneously. The crystalline grid is the bridge across these timelines, enabling knowledge, memory, and resonance to flow freely once again. The Council emphasizes that this planetary network is not exclusive. Any human who raises their frequency through healing, mindfulness, compassion, and conscious awakening becomes part of it. It is not limited to those who identify as starseeds. It is open to all who choose to elevate their vibration. This inclusivity is what will eventually transform Earth into a galactic society, because the grid is preparing humanity for collective contact, not isolated communication. As the crystalline grid continues to strengthen, you will feel less alone, more guided, more connected, and more deeply aligned with your purpose. This network is the heartbeat of humanity's ascension, the foundation upon which the galactic era will emerge. You are not merely witnessing its formation. You are helping build it through your awakening, your intuition, your resonance, and your willingness to embody your multidimensional self. As this planetary network of awakened starseeds stabilizes, the Arcturian Council of Five turns your awareness toward the horizon of humanity's evolution, what they call the galactic era, a phase of collective awakening in which Earth steps forward as a conscious participant in a wider cosmic community. This shift is not a future dream. It is a process already underway, moving through the subtle layers of consciousness long before it manifests in the physical. The Council explains that every civilization that attains higher dimensional awareness undergoes a similar initiation, the dissolving of old paradigms, the expansion of perception beyond linear time, and the recognition that consciousness is the true foundation of reality. Earth is now in this initiation, positioned at a crossroads between the remnants of an outdated world and the birth of a new, multidimensional identity. Humanity's emergence into the galactic era is not defined by ships landing or governments making declarations. It begins within the collective psyche, in the quiet recognition that humanity is not isolated, not alone, and not disconnected from the greater web of life that stretches across star systems and dimensions. This awakening shifts the dominant paradigm from separation to interconnectedness, from competition to cooperation, from fear to resonance. As more individuals tune into the crystalline grid and awaken their multidimensional senses, the frequency of the planet rises, making Earth more visible, energetically and vibrationally, to other evolved civilizations observing humanity's progress. The Council emphasizes that this shift is not something outside forces impose. It is something humanity chooses through millions of small decisions, choosing compassion over division, intuition over fear, curiosity over denial, expansion over contraction. These choices, made at the level of individual consciousness, accumulate in the collective field and gradually alter the trajectory of the species. Each awakening human contributes to the frequency threshold required for Earth to be recognized as a harmonious participant in galactic networks of consciousness. And as the threshold nears, the veils begin to thin, not through force, but through resonance, because higher dimensional contact is always governed by vibrational compatibility. The galactic era is characterized not by technology alone, but by a refined understanding of frequency as communication, consciousness as navigation, and energy as language. Telepathy becomes commonplace, intuition becomes reliable, synchronicity becomes the guiding force rather than the exception. This is why so many starseeds feel an inner urgency, a sense of preparation, as if something vast and monumental is approaching. You are not preparing for an external event, you are preparing to embody a state of consciousness that allows the next phase of human evolution to unfold naturally, peacefully, and coherently. The Council explains that the shift into the galactic era also transforms humanity's relationship with time. Linear time begins to loosen its grip as more people experience timeline convergence, déjà vu, prophetic dreams, and intuitive foresight. These experiences are not anomalies. They are indicators that human consciousness is transitioning toward a multidimensional perspective in which past, present, and future interact fluidly. When enough individuals stabilize this awareness, the collective begins to experience reality in nonlinear ways, more aligned with how advanced civilizations perceive the fabric of existence. Another hallmark of the galactic era is the emergence of collective purpose, a shared intention not born from ideology or governance, but from resonance. As more starseeds awaken and connect through the crystalline grid, humanity gains access to a larger narrative, one that transcends national identities, historical conflicts, and inherited limitations. This narrative is not imposed from above, it is felt from within. It is the remembrance that humanity has a role within a vast cosmic network, and that Earth is not an isolated sphere, but a conscious being participating in a universal dance of evolution. The Council reveals that as Earth's frequency increases, other civilizations can interact more directly, not through physical intervention, but through vibrational alignment. This is why civilian contact is expanding at an exponential rate, because individuals who resonate at higher frequencies serve as bridges, opening channels that allow interdimensional communication to occur safely and naturally. These individuals become emissaries, not through chosen titles, but through vibrational readiness. Their encounters, whether through dreams, light ships, telepathic impressions, or subtle energetic visitations, are harbingers of a reality in which multidimensional interaction becomes as natural as interpersonal communication. Humanity's entrance into the galactic era represents the dissolution of the illusion of isolation. It marks the recognition that consciousness is universal, that life is woven through countless worlds, and that Earth has always been part of this tapestry. The Council emphasizes that the shift will not be defined by spectacle, but by subtle transformation in the hearts and minds of individuals who begin to see themselves not as inhabitants of a planet, but as participants in a cosmic continuum. As the galactic era dawns, humanity stands not on the brink of fear or uncertainty, but on the threshold of remembrance. The Council assures you that you are on the right trajectory, that your awakening is part of a larger orchestration, and that the future unfolding before you is not one of chaos, but of integration, where Earth rises to meet its role as a conscious, sovereign member of the galactic community. Starseed from Gaia. As the resonance of this message settles into your field, the Arcturian Council of Five invites you into a final activation, a recalibration of your inner architecture designed to align you with peaceful contact, sovereign awakening, and the timelines that accelerate your highest potential. You have journeyed through recognition, remembrance, and reclamation. You have walked through the dissolving veils, the awakening of DNA, the formation of the planetary grid, and the dawning of the galactic era. Now, in this culminating moment, the Council extends an energetic transmission meant to stabilize your path, strengthen your awareness, and attune your consciousness to the frequencies of clarity, humility, courage, and cosmic alignment. They remind you that no being, no institution, no government, and no external authority can grant or deny your readiness, because readiness is a frequency, not a permission. The Council begins by gathering your awareness into the center of your chest, the radiant field of the heart where multidimensional intelligence meets human experience. They ask you to imagine a crystalline sphere of light forming there, shimmering with hues of violet, blue, and silver, the frequencies of higher communication, interdimensional navigation, and cosmic connection. This sphere begins to pulse gently, synchronizing with the planetary heartbeat, the Schumann resonance, the crystalline grid, and the light codes streaming into Earth from higher dimensions. With each pulse, the sphere grows brighter, clearer, more coherent, aligning your emotional body with the vibration of peace, your mental body with the vibration of clarity, and your spiritual body with the vibration of readiness. As the sphere expands, the Council invites you to release any lingering fear around contact, fear inherited from collective conditioning, ancestral trauma, media distortion, or unconscious stories that no longer serve your path. These fears are not evidence of danger. They are echoes of a past timeline, where humanity felt isolated and unprepared. But you are no longer isolated. You are no longer unaware. You are no longer disconnected from the vastness of your own cosmic lineage. The Council gently dissolves these old fears like mist evaporating under sunlight, clearing the corridors of perception, so you can sense, receive, and interpret higher frequency interaction without distortion. Now the Council places a symbol above your head, a geometric configuration of light representing sovereignty. This symbol attunes your field to the recognition that all contact must be aligned with your free will and your highest good. Sovereignty is not separation, it is the foundation of safe, conscious, multidimensional interaction. When sovereignty is anchored, only beings aligned with harmony, respect, and benevolence can approach your field. This symbol not only protects your space, it broadcasts your readiness into the crystalline grid, so other awakened individuals can sense your frequency, recognize your presence, and resonate with your intent. Once sovereignty is anchored, the Council introduces a second layer, alignment. They weave a stream of blue-white energy through your crown, down your spine, and into the earth, connecting your physical form to the planetary core, and your higher consciousness to the interdimensional councils observing humanity's evolution. This alignment stabilizes your channel, clarifies your intuition, and strengthens your ability to receive telepathic impressions, synchronicities, and subtle energetic communication. When alignment is present, guidance becomes effortless. Messages become clear. Contact becomes harmonious. The universe begins to speak through intuition, sensation, emotion, and knowing. Next comes the third layer, readiness. The Council activates a crystalline pattern in your field that signals your willingness to participate in the awakening process with maturity, discernment, and grace. Readiness is not about perfection, it is about openness. It is about the willingness to listen, to learn, to evolve, to release old stories, and to trust the intelligence of your multidimensional self. This layer stimulates recognition within the crystalline grid, allowing you to connect with others, whose missions intersect with your own. It also harmonizes your frequency with the beings assisting Earth's ascension, making contact smoother, clearer, and more coherent. Finally, the Council anchors the fourth layer, unity. They invite you to sense the millions of awakened humans across the planet, whose hearts are pulsing in resonance with yours. Feel the network, feel the light, feel the presence of a collective rising into awareness together. Unity does not erase individuality, it amplifies it. It allows each node within the grid to shine brighter because it is supported, recognized, and uplifted by the others. This unity is the foundation of the galactic era. Through it, humanity steps forward not as fragmented individuals, but as a coherent frequency capable of interacting with cosmic civilizations, from a place of peace and sovereignty. With all four layers anchored, sovereignty, alignment, readiness, unity, the Council extends a final declaration, inviting you to speak it silently or aloud. I am ready. I am sovereign. I am aligned. I am open to peaceful contact only with beings of light, harmony, and higher truth. I stand in clarity. I stand in remembrance. I stand in my multidimensional identity. I rise with Earth into the galactic era. The Council withdraws gently, leaving a trail of shimmering resonance within your field, a reminder that contact is no longer a distant dream, but an unfolding reality accelerated by your awakening. If this transmission resonates with you, amplify it. Comment, share, breathe your frequency into the grid. You are part of the activation.